right, hello everybody. Again, it is me, Danielle J. Mitchell, your up-and-coming queen of real estate, and I'm here for today's and this week's Tuesday Tip at 2, and I am talking about changes that have come to what is the FHA loan. Changes that have come to what is the FHA loan. Now, let's do a little bit of recap in regards to the loan. Let's talk about what is the FHA loan, what's so great about it, or whatever. So just a little recap. FHA loan, okay, it's a federally funded loan, okay. It's federally funded, so it provides you with less down payment, right? So for a conventional loan, depending on your credit score, you might have to put down 20%, as high as 20%, maybe 10%, maybe 5%. If you have excellent credit, 3%, okay? But with FHA loan, it allows people who have pretty much credit that is under 680, okay, to be able to get, have the opportunity to get decent interest rate, as well as a down payment that is, reasonable or whatever, so they don't have to come up as much out of pocket as, possibly with the conventional loan. So it affords great opportunities, again, if you have a lower credit score, and everything. So for FHA loan, you have to have the minimum 500 credit score, actually, right? But with a 500 credit score, you are putting 10% down, okay? And to get that, the benefit, putting 3.5% down, you need a 580 credit score. Now, please note, it does not mean that a lender, right, a particular mortgage lender, may not go by that same guidelines because they feel as though you might be a higher risk when you start getting into those scores that are in the 500s. But that is the requirement for FHA. You just have to find a lender who is okay with going with their guidelines, okay? So, FHA loan, great. Most first-time home buyers, second-time home buyers, anytime home buyers use FHA loans, especially, again, if your credit score is below 680, okay? 660 even, right? So it's an excellent program or loan to utilize. Now, the thing about FHA loans is that because it's federally funded, if you have them student loans, right? A lot of times lenders will have to transition you out of, qualifying for the FHA loan and get you into the conventional loan, which again may work for you, but may not work for you, right? So again, some of the benefits to an FHA loan, if you have lower credit score, is that you're getting a decent interest rate and among other things, right? So, but with the FHA loan, the way they calculate your student loans into your debt to income ratio, at least was quite high. So let's talk about what I'm talking about, okay? So before the new changes, so let's talk about debt to income ratio before I get into it. Debt to income ratio, as you know, because I talked about it in the past, is pretty much the formula that is used to determine how much borrowing power you have. Pretty much how much money you can use to purchase a home, right? So they go off of, your credit cards, credit card payments, any personal loans that you might have, any car loans or leases that might be on your credit. They take those debts, right, to factor in whether you're able to, how much you're able to afford, whether you're able to afford a mortgage and how much you're able to afford. Of course, the less debt you have, the better, the higher, the higher purchase price you can get, right? So how they determine what your debt to income ratio and factoring your student loans in, they would pretty much take 1% of the total loan balance. So if you have $200,000 worth of student loans, okay, they're going to take 1% of that overall and be like, yep, that's how we're going to calculate your pretty much your monthly payment amount. Okay, not going off of what the credit report says, not going off of what your payment plan says. What they would do is say, we are going to go off of it was okay. So let me go back. It is the greater of what the credit report says, and they did not factor in your income driven repayment plans. Okay, so whatever is greater, whether it's your credit report or the 1% balance of the whole loan, which 9 times out of 10 is going to be that 1%, right? So again, if your balance for your student loans is $200,000, then they're going to say, oh, your monthly payment for your student loans is $2,000 a month. Right? That blows your debt to income ratio out of the water. Okay? It blows it out of the water. Right? So if you had, I got $300 from my car and I got $50 is my minimum payment for my credit cards. Or, most people are $28, but let's say it's just $50, just, for example's sake. And then they're like, a whopping $2,000. Of course, that significantly, that means that you cannot qualify for most people for a FHA loan, right? So you cannot qualify to buy a house. I remember an example of my client. They had, some loans. They just got out of school and all that good stuff. And we had to switch, fortunately, she was able to switch over to a conventional loan. It couldn't be that 3%. It had to be 5%. But fortunately, she had, the money to be able to do so, right? And everything. So if fast forward now, she was looking for a house, she could have, utilized the FHA loan and pay her 3.5% down and all that good stuff, which would have been very beneficial. But luckily, she had the credit score she did, where she was able to make the switch. Not everybody does. So we have to understand how this pretty much cancels out a lot of people being able to use FHA loan if they have student loans, especially if they have a vast amount. But even if they have a smaller amount, it still significantly changes it. Okay. So again, they take 1% of the overall loan balance and they use that as your monthly payment for your student loans, even if you're on an income-based driven repayment plan, all that good stuff. Okay. The change now is that they're going to use whatever is reported on the credit report, or whatever is the income-based driven, repayment, except it being zero. So some of us, because I have student loans too, some of us, you may be on a zero repayment plan, right? They don't calculate the zero repayment. They're not going to be like, yeah, they have zero, monthly payment. No, what they're going to do if it's zero is they're going to take 0.5% of the overall outstanding balance as opposed to 1%, which makes a huge difference, right? So let me break down an example so we can understand what this looks like in real life and real time. So say you have $50,000 in a loan, in your student loans, right? So that means that, let's say that the credit report was reporting that you pay $200 a month. That means the old way, they would report $500. So even if you were paying $200, that's what your credit report is showing. That's what you're paying on your student loans. The old calculation to be qualified for a FHA would have had you at $500, okay, as your monthly payment, as opposed to what you're actually paid, which is the $200. But with the new rule, it's going to report just that $200, okay? It's going to report just that $200. Now, let's say with the same $50,000 example, that your income-based driven or income-based repayment amount is $100 a month. With the old formula, they would have calculated again $500, right? But with the new formula, they're going to calculate, okay, $100. All right. Now, please note with your debt to income ratio, we're talking about just monthly payment amounts, right? So when you get when you go and you try to get pre-approved for a mortgage, the lender's going to say to you, you know, what you're paying for. You're paying your car payment, your car payment, your credit card, you know, these different debts, right? And of course, they're going to pull your credit and be able to see the different stuff as well. But they're just going off of that monthly minimum payment amount. Okay. So back to the example, 50K in student loans. Let's say you only pay $0 for your income-based driven, you know, repayment plan, right? The old formula would have said up $500. Again, with all these examples, they're going to pick the greatest amounts out of all of it. And they're going to say $500. That's how much your payment is, right? But with the new formula, they're going to go, again, with zero payments for income-based repayment. They're going to go with that 0.5% of your overall student loan debt, which would, for this example, at $50,000 would be $250, right? What does that mean? In this example, that is giving, with this change, a borrower $40,000 more towards the purchase of a home. Let me say that again. In this example, with this change, and they only have $50,000 in their student loan, right, outstanding, it makes the difference of $40,000 difference. This is a huge, and we're only talking, you know, $50,000, right? That makes a significant difference in how, and number one, not only qualify. I'm so excited I can't even talk. Qualify for a house, but also how much you're able to borrow. It makes a huge difference, okay? Especially in this market, you need all the help you can get. $40,000 is the difference between the type of house you can get. It's the difference between how, let's say, you know, your borrowing power is $250, right? But with this change, it now jumps to $290. That's a huge difference. So even if you're looking at a house that's for, let's say, you like a house and it's $260, you're able to go up in price and make a stronger offer. All these kinds of beautiful possibilities, right? So even if you don't want to go to the top end of your budget, that makes such a huge difference. So we have to understand how big of a wonderful change this is for people who have student loans and who still want to buy. And they need help. They need help. I'm excited. $40,000. That just makes me super duper uber excited for the possibilities of more buy. Now, I feel like with this change, the market might get crazy. It might, this change just welcomes more buyers into an already buyer heavy market. But I'm glad it makes it easier for those buyers who maybe are currently looking and were having trouble finding what they want, or just kept getting outbid for a property and all that other stuff. It helps to change their purchasing power. Okay, so I'm excited for those buyers who currently have an FHA, and hopefully they're with a great qualified lender who's able to say, I know of a change that has happened at FHA with the FHA loan, and you can get an extra X amount of dollars, whatever that is for that person, more in purchase price, which is going to help you significantly. So I'm excited, guys. I am so excited. Again, the major change that has happened is that FHA is going to count what you pay as reported on your credit report or on your, income-based repayments, They're going to report that dollar amount as opposed to the 1% of an overall loan. If what's on the credit report or on your income-based driven repayment plan does not suffice, they will just do 0.5% of the overall student amount to get your monthly payment as opposed to a whole 1%. Okay? That's huge. That's huge. That's huge. So I'm excited. Listen, if you want to learn more about this, how to get pre-approved for a mortgage, you know what to do. You can go to book.djmrealtyco.com, or you can go to book.djmrealtyco.com. Of course, you can comment and reach out to me that way, but that is the best way to get in contact with me so we can have the conversation. Listen, I need you to do what's over here, there. I need you to like, comment, subscribe, share, all of the above. Okay, because this is very, 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 very great information. I know there are buyers out there who were told, your student loans, your student loans. So if you have a friend or a family member that was told, your student loans, send them this video. Okay, send them this video. Have them call their lender right away. Have them call me so that we can get them on a path to home ownership. Thank you guys for joining me today. I was super excited about this. That it took me a minute to get through it, but this is huge. So thank you guys for joining me for today and this week's Tuesday tip at 2. I hope to talk to you again next time. All right, stay safe out there, stay cool, because at least as of right now on today, it is very hot on the East Coast in the Philadelphia area. Talk to you soon. Remember, there's no place like home, no place like home buying, and I will talk to you guys next week for another edition of Tuesday Tip at 2.